referees and they're what you'd call very decent and very nice type of people, but I think very often they're misunderstood.
Well, the general perception is gobshite.
I think referees, and I know an awful lot of referees, and they're what you'd call very decent and very nice type of people, but I think very often they're misunderstood.
Well, the general perception is gobshite, but that's a perception of somebody who doesn't think about it for too long.
People that are inclined to be so negative and giving out, you know, well, why don't you stand in and try it and see would you like it, you know?
Get up, man, get up, you're not
And if you put a fella out in a baggy old coat and make him look like a fool, then he's going to be regarded as a fool. Why not smarten him up? Designer umpires, that's what it was.
Hands up, hands up, hands up. Come on, lads, come on, calm down.
I've seen a lot of referees walking off the pitch in dangerous situations.
He loves it. He actually loves it. But I don't know who'd take abuse like that unless they love something.
There is no recipe for providing mistake-free referees. That species has not been made yet.
There's no comparison! We fucking win the money! We have to fucking win!
I suppose I'd have to be honest and say that the main reason why I became a referee was that I thought the standard was so bad that I'm not one of these fellas that sits back and gives out about every organisation and everything. If I can't give it a better shot myself, and refereeing was something that I felt that that if I got in, maybe I could have improved the standard.
I enjoy it, every minute of it. It keeps me involved in the game. I was involved in it for a long time as a player, and when that came to the stage where I just couldn't play any longer, this gave me another avenue to stay involved in the game.
Recruitment of referees is a hugely difficult task at the present time. It was always a difficult task. It's made, I think, much more difficult by the type of abuse that referees are subject to from players and officials. That is the greatest hindrance to the recruitment of new officials.
It's very hard to get referees, you see, that's the problem. And it's very hard to get referees at grassroots level who will start at the bottom, work their way up, learn how to ref, and then go on and become, referees at the highest level.
Unfortunately, the type of creatures we are, we need referees. And referees did get off to a very, very bad start. I suppose the first referee ever was your man above. It was a one-a-side game, Adam and Eve. They didn't obey the rules. He had to apply the rules and he showed 2 red cards.
I'm 45 years of age since last January. I've been a referee for the last approximately 14 years. I suppose in every referee's career the goal is an All-Ireland senior football final, and if that comes, great. If it doesn't, it doesn't, but it certainly would be the goal, I think, of every referee at this level to referee an All-Ireland senior football final.
They all have in the back of their minds this day in September. For the football, the 4th Sunday, for the hurling, the 2nd Sunday now. And they're all hoping that they'll be part of it on that day. That can only happen for 2 teams and 1 referee to be in the All-Ireland final.
In any given year, there would probably be perhaps at least 4 or 5 referees who would be of a level of competence that would be well able to referee an All-Ireland final, So in any given year, we probably have 4 to 5, perhaps if we're fortunate, 6 of the top referees. The main criteria will be ability.
Are you in Connacht Ulster, is it?
No, I'm a local. In the local elections, I mean, in the council elections, I mean.
Oh, right, council elections. It's a championship match, needless to say. There'll be that extra bit of bite in it, you can imagine. And the first 10 minutes are going to be vital. Don't let anything go. There's some fella in England behind my back. If he's pulling jersey or if he's acting the jackass, just let me know at some stage. It's my intention to keep the cards in my pocket as often as I can. Right, and that's the way I'm going out, and it's only the players outside that'll determine whether I take them out or not.
They're in town almost.
Okay. White lads, half. it.
You didn't see the tackle. Come on.
I know that. He went into it. He went in there.
Come on.
Shout that, please, that coach, improve it. Get him to stay in the dugout. Okay, get him to stay in the dugout as much as possible. Thanks. Rough play, Justin. Rough play. But lads, I have to insist on you staying on the line.
Come on.
What's the name?
Brand McGlynn.
Don't come on the field. You know the rule. I can't. It's not my fault, lads. That is the rule. I have to keep fighting. Well done, lads. Well done. Great stuff. Well done, lads. Thanks. Hello. How's it going? Oh, fabulous. We're finishing a draw.
Well, I always ring him after a game just to say that everything has gone all right.
Great game.
A lot of people have said to me, you know, you didn't get well paid for it. And they don't really believe you when you tell them they don't get a penny for it. They actually get, I think it's 30 pence a mile. And they get a maximum of £15 for a meal for themselves and the 4 umpires. And that's it.
I think referees should get paid. Anyone who puts up with that amount of grief deserves some recompense for it. But I don't believe that paying referees or creating professional referees will make for better referees.
It's a sport. It's not a profession. Now, people will argue against that and say that the way that Gaelic football and hurling has gone, that it's almost professional, and the amount of effort that the players put in when training and that, which I suppose is true. They do put in an awful big effort and make an awful big sacrifice, and you know, I know that. But it's still an amateur sport, and we're amateurs as referees.
I did it once, not so long ago actually, for a kids' tournament, and I found it very, very hard to do because you get emotionally involved in it, and then there's a slippery slope if you ignore one thing or miss it and realise too late that you've missed it. Then how do you balance things up? So you get into a series of deals, and I have great sympathy for referees, and anyone who's tried to do it would empathise with them. I don't mind the local matches at all, but when it gets to the high-profile games, when you're getting all the media coverage and that's a different story.
I'd always keep telling her, don't worry about it, you know. She said, you know, why don't you give it up? Why don't you walk away from it? We don't need this hassle in our life and all this, you know. But I do tell her she worries too much about me, you know. Pat has to do a lot of training as well for refereeing and for the football, you know. So he's quite busy and he's out a lot. And that can get in the way sometimes. Maybe when I decide I want to go out, you know, GAA always comes first in our house.
You're going to come here today, it's a little bit special. You've a local derby match with Kildare and Offaly, Croke Park, so it's going to be a right big crowd today. I expect to be a good atmosphere, you know, and you know, it's like fellas wanting to play at Wembley, you know, and the place to play is Croke Park, the place to referee is Croke Park.
Cheers lads, tuppence, yeah, I need tuppence. Fuck me, sorry. Shame, are you carrying a whistle with you?
I am.
Shame, prayer, yeah. 20 pence. 20 pence. No, 2p lads, 2p, has to be 2p. Red and yellow cards. What I'm using. Spare set. If I give a free somewhere, or lane ball or free where you're from or where you come onto the pitch, all the usual stuff, really tell you price, and I'll cover your ass up along the lane. You stick with what's behind me, right? And I'll cover your ass up along the lane. Boys, 45 minutes, we'll talk about the next one, we're back in. Let's go. There's no parade. Glenn. There's no parade. Here. Right, lads, let's go.
And the man who takes charge this afternoon is Pat McEnany, vastly experienced referee from Monaghan. Championship. It's Kildare 5 points, Offaly 4.
Glen Ryan's challenge, was it a walkable offence? Glen Ryan's challenge. You read him. I don't know.
I was close to rolling him.
Yeah?
Yeah, you were definitely thinking of that.
We went through. It went through the computer to roll them. CS6 is booked.
Yeah, that's a better job.
12 is ticked, 13 is ticked, Kildare. 6 is ticked for Offaly.
This is the stuff that gets you through another 35 minutes.
Come on, let's go. Yeah, off the field, let's go. Linda! Hold ahead now, hold ahead.
Jesus. Well, Glen Ryan's decision, in the first 10 or 15 minutes was, to me, it was a close call. Seamus Pryor said, one of those decisions that you make, he wouldn't, he felt, could have went either way, yellow carded him. Could have been a red. I'll know tonight on television when I look at it. And if it's red, I'll hold my hand up. If I got it right, move on to the next game, isn't it?
Just before we start and kind of lay out the format, significant things happened at the weekend that it wouldn't be right to leave for another month. In the football game in Croke Park last Sunday, I would have felt that in the Kildare and Offaly game that it would have taken a fairly elastic stretching of the definition of the word rough to class Glen Ryan's tackle as rough. I would have felt it was dangerous and the player should have been sent off. There are tackles whereby you sort of recoil if you're 200 metres away in the stand and you say, well, that fella get up. He got up after a while and he played on for a while, but he had to go off. I felt it was a dangerous tackle. I felt the player should have been sent off.
I felt the booking was adequate. It was, it was a rash challenge, all right. As I said, Paddy Collins is, and I take his view very, very strongly. He said that Glen Ryan should have walked. You've got to be able to accept that criticism and be able to stand up in a meeting and sit down at a meeting and take the opinions of other people, because that helps your game. If you're willing to listen. If you're a referee that's not willing to listen, then you're going nowhere fast.
Hello there and welcome to Sports Call. Tonight the programme a little different than usual.
I don't normally criticise referees. The performance today made everybody so utterly angry.
It was absolutely disgraceful, the refereeing yesterday.
There's 90% of referees, and I'm not joking you, that should be discarded straight away.
I think phone-in shows are the bane of all referees' lives. I mean, there isn't any doubt that 95% of the people who contribute to phone-in shows in the immediate aftermath of games are partisan people who support one side or the other, invariably the defeated side.
Well, if you're out trying to referee games and you listen to like the Coleman coming on Sports Call, you'd throw your hat at it.
It was a wrong decision by the referee, which led to that fisticuffs.
To see a team being treated so horrendously by the referee, I thought was a disgrace.
The man should be knocked off the referee's panel. He should never be allowed to referee a match again.
You'd want to be, I suppose, a referee's wife to notice really that when it affects you, and somebody close to you, he's been hassled or whatever, you can imagine yourself like, how you'd feel.
I'm sorry if he's listening, or that if I would hurt his family in any way, but I'm utterly disappointed at the way he carried on yesterday. He shouldn't be allowed into a bloody match, not alone referee one.
Radio programmes and TV programmes, when you get the general public ringing in, I mean, I think it's you're only hiding to nothing. you're on ahead into nothing.
If there's a mistake made in a big match, the amount of calls we get in is just incredible on referees. And during the championship season, there'll be more calls focusing on a referee's error that denied somebody victory than there will be on a great performance.
If anybody tuned into the Premier radio station on that Monday night, Des Cahill devoting an entire programme on the national radio station to people ringing in, criticising the referee. Des is a broadcaster and a good one, like, you know, but he doesn't know what it's like to be at the receiving end of that.
I say a referee who's had a controversial moment on a Sunday must hate sports call on a Monday, but I would also like to think that generally I would that they would acknowledge that I would bat for the referee, because I do believe that they're victims of the rules of the game, which are wrong.
The media might come up with a certain decision, you know, say Pat made, you know, and I'd say to him, well, why did you make that decision? And he would say, well, because such and such, you know, and it would make sense, you know. And I would say, but can you not say that to them? Can you not show them that's how you got that decision, you know? And yes, but unfortunately they can't.
The advice from GA headquarters is that you don't comment on any aspect of a game, either one you do yourself or one so somebody else does. Full stop. I'm just part of the game. I don't have power over anybody. I mean, there's just a set of rules there that I'm given, and I'm told, look, implement those and be fair about the way you do it, and use your common sense when you're implementing it. That's not power. Power, as far as I'd be concerned, is where you can do what you like outside in the field, and you can restrict things, and you can tell players this, that, and the other. Referees don't do that. The rules are there. The players are aware of them. Management are aware of them. Everybody's aware of them. And I think if people want to be fair to us, what they should do is judge us by the way we implement those rules and how fair we are in doing it.
Justice is at the heart of refereeing, and if you feel an unjust act has been committed and people have got away with it, well, that's the beginning of anger.
GA is probably evokes more passion on a more regular basis than any of the other sports. And for an obvious reason, unlike soccer and rugby, it's still a parish game or a county game. So it's still my crowd versus your crowd. Therefore, if a referee's decision goes against them, there is such an emotional twist there and a feeling of injustice. And so many people are saying, but you know, you're not just injuring the team, you're injuring so many supporters.
After Lanham final in '96, you know, I was rated one of the better referees in the country at the time. And after the replay, I was probably rated one of the worst referees in the country. So to say a week is a long time in politics, I can tell you an hour is a long time when you're a referee.
Pat McEnany takes charge, still plays his football with the Portduff club in Monaghan.
1996, the replay, I didn't go back to it because I just felt that there was no point in putting myself through the torture. Literally, that's what I felt it was. We had small kids at the time, and I was dropping them off with my sisters. So I just inquired, how did he do it? And they said, oh, he done well, but there was a big shemazel in the beginning of the match.
This match was only 10 or 11 minutes old when the flare-up happened, and there was, you know, all hell broke loose.
John McDermott blocks it. Plenty of defenders in there. John McDermott will man the broken. They're swinging around in there now, and John Casey going in, and they're all at it in there now, and this is absolutely disgraceful. No need at all, and there's practically 20 of the players there now, and they're coming from all sides, and the referee should take strong action now, and perhaps he should dismiss one or two right away.
I think there was about 22 or 23 players just convened onto each other, and there was nobody sparing themselves, you know. To me, Liam McHale and John McDermott are the two men I want to go. My linesman, Kevin Walsh from Clare, said Colm Coyle has to go. Has to go, Pat. He's after dropping about 5 fellas. Francis McMahon, my umpire, said, Pat, Colm Coyle has to go. I says, right, Liam McHale and Colm Coyle, and nobody said anything.
Colm Coyle is going off, and Liam McHale is going off the Mayo team. That's a major blow to both teams.
To say both men were unlucky to get sent off, I have to accept that, you know. To me, there was 20 other players very lucky to stay on the field.
He was powerless, and I would have sympathy for him. Because this again was the minds of the players working. Maybe Mayo had it in the back of their minds, or people say all over the country that Mayo are soft, that you can push them around. Let's show that that won't happen. And then the reaction from Meath, well, nobody ever pushed us around. We're not going to be pushed around. But in most cases, for things like that, they look worse than they really are.
Next morning, it's a different story. You nearly think that what the match Pat had refereed the day before was a different match that was what was in the papers. You know, it was completely like, you know, we were flabbergasted.
It did affect me big time around that particular time. But my old boy died in about a couple of months after that. He died in November. There was 5 lads in our house, you know, and we all played football. And I'd have to say that only for him, we would have never been involved in football. We went everywhere together to matches, up to Croke Park, and he, you know, people said he used to, you know, I suffered a bit of brain damage. That time you could carry the boys in under your Oxters, in through the gates in Croke Park, the turnstiles, you know, and the old boy, your head could be banging off the turnstiles on the way in, you know. But they were great times. And when he died, you know, the whole world could have ended, you know, as far as I was concerned.
He took the death very, very bad. It actually pushed the All-Ireland completely out of his head. He actually said, you know, this is life, you know, the death of my father is life, you know, football, you know, refereeing. It's gone, we move on.
There was a girl, I used to work in Roaches. She used to think he had lovely legs. She used to always say to me, God, we'll massage those tonight. I always go along with their messing around, really. But she used to always volunteer to massage his legs and put the cream on them or whatever.
I don't know where you got that. Well, I have a fair idea right where you got it, but...
I think one of Fiona's friends has a pin-up in her press. Off him, yeah.
Nobody has ever said that to me. That's all I can say to you. Nobody has ever said that to me. So I think you could take it from there that it probably isn't true.
I remember Fiona said to me that her friend, now she's only 19, like, God, he's a fine thing. I think he's 45. But I think it's funny, I enjoy it. That's the light-hearted part of it, really, you know.
I don't know where they get that theory about Pat McEnany being a pin-up referee.
I didn't hear that. So welcome to him.
I do often ask the wife, you know, where was all these girls when I was floating about at 19 and 20 and 21? And Rose says I wasn't as good looking then, you know, but I don't believe that's true. I mean, that's an embarrassing statement, really, you know.
And here come the Royal County.
Where there's a minute's silence, are you? I am, yes. I was told that. Do you want to, somebody will announce it from up in the stand?
Yeah. That's okay. It will be announced.
That's grand, that's all right. That's spot on, no problem.
All right.
And there's a parade and
There's no parade.
Oh, there's no parade?
There's no parade, just national anthem. Minute silence, national anthem.
That's grand, spot on, spot on.
This is to honour the 4 Air Corps men who died so tragically during the week when their helicopter crashed outside Tremor. The crowd here already creating a wonderful atmosphere. Conor Murphy with him, and Conor Murphy seems to have been holding and pulling Vinnie Claffey back.
Last time now. You have to get your hands off his back. If you don't, you're in trouble.
Some very sensible refereeing so far by Michael Curley. He hasn't taken any yellow cards, nothing malicious going on.
And Paddy Reynolds and John Kenny and Jimmy Stewart get involved.
All right. Okay. Jimmy, lads. Coming over here.
In fact, he's overruled that earlier decision, which is perfectly correct, and he is giving a hot ball.
No way. The lad went down first.
And there's a blow struck now by Kieran McManus and Paddy Reynolds as passions overspill.
Walk away from it.
They put me by the board.
Take your time now. Take it handy.
Jeez, I'm just telling you I did.
The final score, Meath 113, Offaly 9 points, and the message from Croke Park today,
Thanks very much.
loud and clear, Meath are back and looking good.
Thanks very much, Paddy. Now, was that a foul out there?
That's the only thing I'd be a little bit worried about now. I don't know whether he reacted very easily to a touch or whether he touched.
Did he have his hand on his back, do you know?
I'd say it more like his body now than anything else now, I would say. Now, looking at it fast.
Look, I was coming behind him and I didn't think that he had his hand on his back at all at that stage. Brian, that incident down there, this corner here, just before Meath got the goal, was your man fouled that time? Was he? Shit. Fuck it. Bollocks. I thought he had actually gone down on it, that he actually fell first.
No.
Before your man made contact with him.
No, he reacted to a very light touch, all right.
Yeah. How's it going? Great. No problem at all. Talk to you later. Bye-bye. That's the lady at the house. The boss, exactly. I said, well, you watching? Oh, Jesus, no way. She said, I wouldn't watch that.
Well, I only went to one big one, actually, in Croke Park. It was between Westmeath and Derry, the minor final. I went to that one. It was the first big match I ever went to in Croke Park. But I didn't see it. I'd say there wasn't 5 minutes into the match when I got just a pain there. And my heart was just pumping. No, I couldn't. I thought it would ease off. I said I'd stay there now. I thought it would ease off. But then the crowd started shouting and whatever. Then I suppose the abuse, then if somebody failed, they'd shout, "Oh, ref," or whatever. I didn't stay much longer. I couldn't. My heart was just pounding. You often hear of these stories of people collapsing in matches. I was terrified that I was going to collapse.
I still play football for my club. Playing with Carduff now since 1976 or 77. I was only about 16 or 15 or 16 at the time when I played for them. I played right up till I broke my leg before the intermediate final last year, which was the biggest disappointment I've ever had in football. But I've come back and I've played 4 matches just at the end of this year.
Dig in there.
It's as simple as this. We needed 14 or 15 out of the match performance in the media final last year. We've been fucking junior and we've been intermediate for 70 years. The story is, we win the day, we stay in senior, we fucking lose them and go back down to where we were for 70 years. We want this prize.
Am I the same fella when I'm playing and I'm refereeing? I think it's fair to say I'm not. No. When I'm in a Carduff jersey, I'm a Carduff footballer, you know, and that's how they treat me, and that's how I treat them.
Hold it! Are we going to get protection from? Hey, hold it.
I'd be a disciplined footballer now, there's no question about that. I mean, I haven't got sent off too many times in career, maybe once or twice, I think, in the younger days. But I would be very conscious of, you know, the position that I'm in when I'm playing football, you know. But that doesn't stop me. I mean, I've been known to get stuck in, and, you know, in the fairest possible manner, of course.
Okay.
I have a few brothers maybe that mightn't be as disciplined as me, you know, but and I do have to kind of advise them, because it's not very healthy having a fella who's a well-known referee and his brother's been sent off as well, you know, so you have to kind of school them as well, you know, and they're a little bit harder to talk to than I am, you know.
Well, I got the usual phone call after the match, whatever, and I said to Mick, "How did it go?" And he said, "Fine." He said, but he hesitated.
First half, Cavan dominated completely, went in well ahead at half-time, added to the score after half-time. And then Wexford started coming back.
If we won the last match against Cavan, we thought we would be into Division 1 football. And this would have been a great achievement for our players. They really had put a lot of hard work into it.
One of the backs committed a foul on one of the Cavan midfielders inside in the square, and I gave a penalty to Cavan.
One of our players was downed with a fist into the back of the head. He was driven out in his face and eyes. And Mick had moved on. He hadn't seen, the referee had not seen it. But he has 2 linesmen and 4 umpires. And the ball travelled to the wing and came back into the centre of the pitch. And the player who had been downed, and he had received a heavy blow now, he recovered very quickly and ran back into his position. Now, he was the one accused of giving away this penalty, which I don't think should ever have been given at that stage of the game.
Ronan Carlin scored it, and that put Cavan into the lead, and the game was over at that stage.
Now, we were deprived of that win by that penalty.
To put this diplomatically, he didn't say I was a very nice fella. He didn't say I was a good referee. He didn't say that the penalty was justified.
I said, Mick, if this costs me 5 years, you were a fucking disgrace. They were the words I used. And Mick just turned away from me. I think it's probably the way he went to go for me that he didn't say, look, I'm sorry, you know, you played well or did something. If he even spoke to me, I think nothing would have happened.
But as he was going away, he just let fly. And he hit me on the side of the face. And that shook me, I can tell you. Because not so much the blow that he hit me, but I never expected it. I never expected him to do it. And I never experienced anything like it before. I would
protect referees completely. I think their position is sacrosanct. What I did was madness. And it should be a lesson for anybody not to do in the future. But that is the type of stuff that can drive one to doing it. I had to resign my position, and then I was suspended by the Central Disciplinary Committee of the GA, which is the GAC. They suspended me for 2 years. So I'd say that put an end to my managerial career.
I know it had an effect on the family here. I know that, you know, it really upset the whole lot of them that something like that, because that, as I said, never happened to me in the length of time I've been refereeing. And it brought an element into it that, you know, they probably didn't expect either, and particularly Dimmer didn't expect that I would ever actually get hit during a match. But we talked about it a good bit, and I think that probably settled the nerves.
About 12, I did anyway, about 11:45. I'm not sure the rest of the gang here did. Yeah. I ordered my umpires to be in bed by 1 o'clock. I hope that was fulfilled, but I'm afraid they would ask any questions. But now I think they all behaved very well, and they all look in reasonable shape this morning. You know.
I hate that. Take your time.
Kerry and Cork, Munster final. It's an occasion unto itself, and I'm just delighted to be part of it.
We're heading for the showground. The showground. Good man, thank you.
You know, I expect a good football match here today. Don't expect any real problems, to be honest.
Thank you very much indeed, Pat McAuliffe. Action Sunday from RTE Radio Cork. We're live here at Páirc Uí Chaoimh. It's Munster Senior Football Championship final day. It seems to be all about Cork and Kerry, even in the primary game. That is at 2:45.
On the pitch, I want you, right? And if I let a situation go, you stay with it. You stay with the freeze, I'll cover your ass up along there. Unusually. Let me fucking tell you boys what to do. Right? Let's do the business.
Just look, sure. Sorry, yeah. Just look, you right. All right, thank you. Well,
Well, the red of Cork and the green and gold of Kerry to be seen everywhere.
Thank you very much.
A misty Porky.
Okay.
You send him between the Kerry going for 4 in a row. Cork's last win was 1995.
Let's say there's a bit of a schmoz and I blow the whistle. And I'm standing here, right? And you're closer. Fucking in like a shot.
I would say the most of 50,000 people here. The pitch in superb condition.
Let's look, lad. Hard enough, is it? Hope you get your hands on it. Hope you get your hands on it.
And the referee this afternoon has come all the way down from Monaghan, Pat McEnany. Huge pride at stake. The battle for the Munster Championship.
First personal foul. Get them take quick, Jamie. I'm long enough about to know that now. Jesus. Do you want to try it? No, I know.
And right now, Ronan McCarthy and Maurice Fitzgerald are engaged in a brawl on the field there. tugging onto each other. I'm sure the linesman thought that that's something we don't want to see in the remainder of this Munster final. Morris and Ronan McCartney, and again they're at it inside. Brendan O'Sullivan, a terrible row has broken out inside now. Play goes on, and this is a disgrace really. I don't know who started it, but quite a few got involved, and the referee will need the assistance of linesmen, umpires and everything this time, because at least a dozen players became involved.
I've tried long enough to keep all men on the field. We're going to go over half-time and have that quick word with them, right?
It hasn't been a pretty first half by any manner of means. A lot of needle, lack of flow. Players are capable of a great deal more than this.
Now what happened? It's just getting a bit messy, you know. Started talking and slowing down. I wanted just to get the free taken, get the half-time. What do you think, John? What would you have done?
I'd have sent off the two boys.
7 and 18, yeah. 7 and 18.
Yeah.
Should have walked.
Both walked. I thought you said...
You want to walk him, John?
Oh, both walked. Oh, yeah. 7 here. 3 of us. Oh, yeah. No doubt. Like it wasn't a tussle, there was fists going.
Yeah, there was fists flying.
Okay, the other lads came in to stop us, but the fists were already gone.
I just thought you wanted it booked. I didn't even think there was any fight.
Well, anyway, it doesn't matter.
You'd have voted the two of them, Gabby?
Yeah.
Come on! 35 fucking minutes! 35 minutes! You Parliament fuckers, lads! Come on! Come on! Fucking believe this! Think back! You back when we came into a fucking dressing room, lads, after fucking losing. Think what it was like! We want to come back in that fucking door! There's no comparison between fucking winning and losing! We have to fucking win!
They're not going near each other,
Let's fucking keep a tight rein here. Let's concentrate and playing ball.
And this time it's Cork who play into the city end of Corky Queen. So much happening in this match, you need eyes at the back of your head, quite honestly.
We're more than well here now. We have this game back together. I want to keep it going like that. No more shit, lads. Come on. Get up. Come on. Anyway. Oh, Jesus, not at all. But hey, you want to just calm down. You have been involved in a couple of incidents there, and I don't want to see them anymore. Give them 10, Jamie. What's that? 30 gone. Oh, just tip it over the bar hours. Near enough. I'm not blowing it.
And the referee whistles and it's all over. And Cork have won back the Munster crown. Larry Tompkins has led them, this time as coach.
All right, John. How was that second half like?
All right.
Here on in, it's a bonus, you know. We get a semi-final, great. My ambition down the road is definitely to do another All-Ireland final. I think after '96, I need an All-Ireland final. Whether it comes this year or not doesn't make any difference. I just need one before I'm too old. I need another All-Ireland final.
All referees who aspire to be on a national referees panel have to do an annual fitness test, which is quite strenuous. It includes stamina work and speed work. So it's akin to what referees in any other of the major field sports would have to do.
You need to be fit. That's a minimum requirement. You must be fit. And the day of the potbelly inter-county referee is gone. It doesn't happen anymore.
Personally, I train 3 times a week. If I don't have a match at weekends, then I train twice a week. I would spend an hour and a half training, mostly running. I take the bike. I go to the bike, I'd maybe cycle 20-25 miles. It's a tough routine, and we have to push ourselves because we have a test, a physical test every year in the month of March or early April, and we also have a written test. But we have to pass that test, and that's not an easy test either. And the pace of the game nowadays is such that you just have to be fit to stay with it. It's as simple as that. Forget about all the media speculation about this big Dublin meat pact. This thing of they're going out to this kind of war is a load of shit as far as I'm concerned. And pardon me for saying that, but that is what it is. We have 5 minutes to go. What I said before, you all know the score, right? Good and tight, right from the start. We let nothing go.
The attendance is 56,315. Gay against the breeze. It is pretty fresh, especially on the Hogan stand side of the field.
It's Garda Superintendent Michael Curley from Galway who takes charge of this Leinster final. And straight away, it is Meath who managed to take possession there.
Tackle without the ball.
The game is only on a minute and a foul there on the Meath forward.
No, the two hands went together. It's impossible to do it the way you did it actually. Do it correctly. Okay.
Free out as that decision has not been accepted there, with a pushing and swinging going on, and Mick Conley who keeps drawing order for the Garda Síochána down in the Clifton area of County Galway. He's in there to restore calm and peace, and fair results will be up to the hour.
Okay, let's cool it down now.
Way to hop ball, and at least quite like what are you doing right now?
I'm only after taking it out of there, but Jeff. Pushing it back.
I don't believe it.
I know you know, but it's still tell me.
The Lions man must have seen something there.
Both of them pulling it home, throwing him. McGurdy kicked out there as well. But I would say 2 bookings to calm things down.
Football champions for 1999, the last of the millennium. The final score read a goal and 14 points to me, 12 points to Dublin.
My man in the match was Kieran Whelan in midfield for Dublin. Mother of Jesus, he walked like a horse. Stop. Oh yeah. Good, something, no problems at all. Lasted right to the end and all. Lasted right to the end. All right. Okay. There's a semi-final stage now, so it'll be a decision of Croke Park to appoint the referees for the 2 semi-finals. So we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. I'd like to get one of them, but if I don't, I don't. I mean, I don't mind. That's the way it goes.
Generally, before every big match or the big games, the father-in-law would be on to me from America, and he would just say hello, you know, by doing something. And I says, well, I'll scratch me head. He says, okay, that's fair enough, you know. And that's how it started. Now it's developed into, you know, when he's over there with his mates, he's always saying, I bet you $10 this fella's going to scratch the head before he throws the ball in, you know. And he's taking on $10 bets of these guys, you know. It's a little family joke that has spiraled a little bit to the States. So I think it was a couple of games I missed a scratch on top of my head, you know, and he lost a lot of money. And he didn't lose a lot of money, but he lost money.
Time for us now to look back on the sporting results from Monday's action, and with those results we now join Andrew O'Connor.
Gaelic Games first, the GAA announced that Michael Curley of Galway, who officiated in this year's Leinster final, will referee the All-Ireland football final on the 26th of September. And after yesterday's draw, it was confirmed that the football semi-final replay between Dublin and Down.
I found out about 2 weeks ago. Michael Curley was doing the All-Ireland final. I was standby referee and lanesman. So, you know, it was always expected that Michael Curley was going to do the All-Ireland. You know, once when Galway were betting, particularly when Mayo bet, so there was no Connacht team in it. Michael Curley's been doing All-Ireland this past 2 or 3 years. So it was just basically, when Connacht weren't involved, he was an obvious choice. You know, people ask me, was I disappointed? I wasn't. You know, within refereeing circles, you know who's going to get what, really. He was a cert to get this year's All-Ireland, you know. So I'm delighted for him, you know, because, like myself, he's taken his own certain amount of stake, but this is the day he always wanted, and I'm delighted for him. And I'm also delighted to be helping him out as well.
was on my way to work actually, and Sean O'Leary rang me from Croke Park, and he told me, and it was great feeling to know it. Kind of said to myself, right, this is the last 14 years all coming into one now. We got up about 8 o'clock, got dressed and went out for breakfast. We'll go to Mass now about at 10:30. There's 10:30 Mass close to here. And I intend to get to the pitch at about 12:30, not later than 12:30, get into the ground there. I'll meet the rest of the lads either on the way or in the pitch. It's great to have the family here. It's a great feeling to have everybody together.
They're very proud of their dad. And, you know, they support him. They give up a lot, I suppose, you know, for his football. There's a lot of times he's not there, like. So it's great for them as well, like, that he got to the top today. I didn't realise it'd be so hyped up. I just thought it was great that he, you know, that he got it, but I didn't realise that it'd be so exciting, I think, and that to be such a big weekend. I don't think I'll be as nervous as I was at the last match I went to when he was refereeing the minor final. I have the kids with me this time, so I don't think I'll be as nervous. I won't know, actually. I wasn't nervous the last time until he went out in the field and actually blew the whistle. That's when it hit me. I stayed 3 minutes and I had to go. So I won't know, actually, until he actually blows the whistle.
Take care. We're going out to referee a game of football. Let it go as much as we possibly can. Spectators have paid good money to see it, and we let it go for their sake as much as for anybody else's. If we have to stop it, then we have to.
I was in the opening spot.
Different kind.
A different kind. Nice to meet you. Thank you very much indeed.
The parade being Porterways open. Hill 16 people by a mixture from Cork and Meath, and it's good to see that. The referee is Mick Conley, the superintendent of the Gardaí from Galway. Both teams have won the All-Ireland 6 times in the past. Of sunshine breaks out here in Croke Park as the Arcade Boys band finish the playing of the national anthem.
Look, Joe. Where's the boy?
Soldier shot 3, Soldier shot 4, coming back to camera 3.
Never mind the screen. That's what you're looking at too often. He had the advantage, he got it. He wasn't fouling you, he wasn't keeping you down.
thought Mick was excellent today. Tried to let the game flow as much as possible, but keeping control of it, and always looked in control of the match, and that's the most important thing from a refereeing point of view. And he'll be very happy tonight. It's a great day for him, great day for a referee.
It's hard to describe the emotions you go through until you actually do it, but there's a feeling of achievement when you've got that far. I wouldn't mind what game I'd referee after that, although maybe that's not quite true. I certainly would like to remain involved in it, for as long as I possibly could, for as long as the two legs keep going.
I'm definitely in it for another 2 or 3 years anyway. After that, it depends on your health and how you're feeling, but at the moment I'm still enjoying it. Still enjoying the views I get as well,
Don't you know you fool?